Hello, this is Lisa Hazard and Misty Lore with the podcast We're All Psychic. And guess what? Today we have Jennifer Love series again. It's so exciting. I can't stand it. She teaches me so much about love. And Jennifer, would you like to answer the question? Do you think we're all psychic again?
Yes, of course, we're all psychic.
Oh, yes, of course. I love, of course. That's the
Of
best.
course, of
Of
course.
course. So, listeners, Jennifer Love is back, and we are going to do, I think this is the third or fourth session. We did one with you, just you doing love, and then we did two podcasts in the series. So, I guess this is a third in the official series, right?
Okay, makes
Yes.
sense.
So, listeners, we're going to talk about a few different things, but mainly kind of what you want to look for in someone if they're into you. That was Jennifer's talking about that earlier. And also when you're going into a new relationship and you've been in other relationships and you don't want to bring all that baggage, as Jennifer said, into the next relationship that person may have unloaded on you or that you built up because of that person. So we have a few things to cover. So Jennifer, where would you like to start?
Yeah, we were talking about like the beginnings of relationships and, what you want to look for while you're dating. And I think most people, what they want when they're looking for a partner, the last, podcast, I think we talked about our list, right?
Yes.
So
Check
that was
list.
kind of our checklist of it, so let's say now you're out there dating and you've got your list and now you're looking for someone who has the same values as you that you've identified on your list, right? So now you're looking for these things. And so you're examining like their behavior. But the kind of things that you're looking for are like things like accountability. Can this person apologize when they have bad behavior? Is this person someone who is self-aware? And of course, it goes both ways, which is something that, we're talking about also when you're talking about baggage, right? Because there's going to be, everybody has baggage. I don't care how old you are. You could be a teenager and you're coming into the relationship with baggage because it's from your childhood.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how old you are, you're coming into the relationship with baggage. So what's important is to be able to have accountability for your baggage. And I think, one of the issues that I have brought into my relationships is this feeling of abandonment and having abandonment issues. And one of the things, I can't remember what it was that triggered me in my current relationship, but it brought up this feeling of abandonment for me with my current boyfriend. And I had kind of an overreaction to something that he said or did, which was not fair to him because it was kind of like a bigger reaction than whatever it was that he did. And I'm really like, what did he do that I can't? Oh, he canceled a date.
Okay.
We had a date and he canceled it. And it wasn't like something that he just canceled it like no big deal. Oh, okay. Now I remember. All right. And this is going to sound
coming back, right?
It's all coming back to you. So okay, this is a great example actually. So my boyfriend got COVID and he canceled our date. And I had a huge reaction to that. Like, oh my gosh, he doesn't love me anymore. He canceled our date. So listener, you might think, wow, Jennifer, you're really cold. Your boyfriend is sick and you're reacting badly because he canceled a date when obviously he's just sick and needs to take care of his health, right? That's a normal reaction to someone getting
Who
COVID
cares about you?
right?
Yeah.
A normal person would just be like, oh, I'm sorry you're sick and I hope you get well, right? But a person with abandonment issues is like, oh my goodness, you don't love me anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want you to realize that the difference in those two kind of lenses with which you see the world. Now, I'm not saying that that was my initial reaction, okay? I reacted with anger because underneath that anger was the fear, and that was the fear of abandonment. But after like 5 minutes, obviously I recognized my own trigger and my own behavior, and then my awareness kicked in and I apologized. And then I had to tell him, you know why I reacted this way? It's because I have these past issues and I'm sorry and I'm taking accountability for my behavior. So you have to be self-aware. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about. Your triggers and your issues are going to constantly show up. And that's okay. As long as you're aware of them, you can apologize for your behavior and you're actively working on making it
Fixing it.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
fixing it.
Yeah.
Fixing it.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Yeah.
walk around with someone who's
Yeah.
trigger happy, right? If the next time that happened and I reacted the same way, then my boyfriend has every right to get very upset at me and go, "Okay, you're obviously
Your
not
life,
working on
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a hot mess. You're not working on this and we have a problem."
Right.
So, yeah, so you have to
Get it
actually
passed. Yeah.
you get a
First time.
pass the first time.
Yeah, yeah, the first
Exactly,
time.
Misty.
Maybe
You get
even
a pass the
twice.
first time, but the next time you better really be actively working on that trigger so it doesn't happen again. So I just
Yeah,
want
because if you get to 3, you're out.
Yeah.
and
Ouch.
whatever that is for you, like whatever your tolerance level is, but I think, I do think everybody should get a pass the first time, especially if it's a really deep
Of course.
issue like mine. That abandonment issue is really, really deep. It goes to my childhood of feeling abandoned. And then it was
Yeah.
repeated through all my adult relationships, this feeling of being abandoned. So I have to say it's pretty deeply rooted for me. So, and that's why it happened.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I have to say I'm very self-aware about it, but it still gets triggered.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's super important that you're able to apologize and own up to your poor behavior.
I do too.
Yeah. So accountability is something you should be looking for in your person, because if your person is someone who cannot say sorry, that is a huge red flag. If you
Mhm.
can't say I'm sorry and mean it and like really understand what it is that you did wrong, like it's okay if someone goes, "Oh, sorry," like they don't know what they
Right.
did, or they're not really
They just don't want you mad at
apologetic.
them.
Right, yeah. You have to be able to tell the difference, right? Okay, I'm not gonna keep
They
beating a
give
dead
you an
horse.
explanation, I think, when they're sorry. Like
Right,
when you
like,
said you're
Exactly.
sorry,
why are
you
you
said,
sorry?
"This is
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
I'm sorry."
Yeah.
You know, you just say, "I'm sorry," and there's no explanation, and that's kind of like whatever,
Yeah.
That's part of the accountability, I think, is to
Yeah.
know why and why. And to me, it's also like, how is this not gonna happen again?
Right.
And something about what you said about being self-aware, and the person, if you want someone who's self-aware, looking for that kind of wraps back into energy work and spirituality, because to be
Mhm.
self-aware of what your
Mhm.
baggage is, or your reactions are, your triggers are, you have to do some deep spiritual work to
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
pop.
you have
Like
to
you
know
said,
who you
5 minutes. Jennifer said, you said 5 minutes
Yeah.
later, you figured it out. That's nothing. You know,
Yeah.
5 minutes is a miracle. I would not do that in 5 minutes. It'd take me a good 2 days at least to figure it out.
I think it was a lot faster actually than 5 minutes. It
Oh,
was more like less than a minute.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I said 5 minutes, but it was more like 30 seconds before I
yeah,
went,
yeah.
because
That's
we
that's
were
really quick.
texting. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
really
really
quick.
quick. Yeah. Because it was an emotional response. It was just like,
Yes, and you can
yeah.
identify it though. You let yourself have the reaction, which is cool, and then you identified it and dealt with it. You know how you
Yeah.
wanted it to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
dealt with.
Yeah.
And that is a very to me it's a spiritual
Mature.
approach. It is a mature approach, but it's also spiritual, because it's about like who you are, who I am, and what I know about myself. And that's spirituality, to me. So
I
Well,
agree.
and to give some context to this, just in my own example, we had this disagreement over text, but then we had a larger discussion about it in person
okay.
later. So I
Yeah.
think, there's, that was like my own personal example. So you have to be able to obviously communicate and negotiate these things and
Yeah.
know the right format and venue and whatever, you can't, have a huge discussion over text, right?
Oh, the
So
the
No.
just
connotations will be taken all the wrong ways if you're in a mood, you know?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, and
No,
it may
right.
not even have been and I did mention to him, it may not even have gone that way if he hadn't texted it to me in the first place, which, you know, you live and learn.
Well,
But yeah,
he learned that it's a trigger
right,
for you, and
right.
he will not wanna trigger you again because he cares about you, so and he
Yeah, yeah,
understood, didn't he?
yeah, yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah, I mean, but I had to give him more context about why that was triggering, my history of abandonment, and we had to discuss it. So,
did you feel it
yeah,
brought you closer?
I definitely do.
That's
Yeah,
great. See,
yeah,
that's knowing yourself and knowing what you can do and saying you're sorry and someone accepting an apology who loves you is, instead
yeah.
of holding it over your head, some people do that and they'll bring it back up and stuff. It sounds like your guy wouldn't do that, and that's ideal.
No, I think he was most, appreciative that I took accountability for my behavior.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
was thinking. Yeah. That's what I
that's
was
so
thinking.
cool.
And I know he's gonna listen to this, so
Oh, good job, my friend. He's been listening.
Smooth.
He's not letting
he's
you
been
go. He listened
listening,
to the
yeah.
last one.
Yeah, I have to be honest in this podcast because he actually listens to it. So, the next thing I want you to look for when you're dating is safety. You wanna feel safe in
Yes,
all ways. You wanna feel like your feelings are treasured and that they matter.
yes,
So that is super important, especially for the women. I think, that feeling of safety and that feeling that any emotion that you have is valid and that you can share it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people repress certain feelings or certain parts of themselves because they feel like, well, I can't share that because he won't understand. Um, or I am too much. I can't be that
Gregarious mood.
emotional. I can't be
Yeah.
that, you know, I can't cry. I can't be angry. I can't, fill in the blank. It's too much for him. So that feeling of being too much is a feeling that you're not safe.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, this person will not accept you if you are
That person
yourself.
will not accept you. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying break up, but I'm just saying you need to look at that. Are you really
Definitely.
feeling safe to be who you are with
Definitely.
that person?
And I mean,
And have that
there is a little bit of,
conversation.
in the beginning, of dating
Right.
someone, you're kinda like it's
You're
exciting,
feeling
so
them
it's
out. Yeah.
yeah, so it's hard to be yourself too, but after a little while, like, if you're seeing this person a good bit, probably within a few weeks, you should be able to cry and laugh, and if you're seeing
Yeah.
them a lot and you have that
Yeah.
open communication, and they should accept it.
Yeah. And you don't have to tell your
Of
life story
course.
in the first date. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, over time, right, you should be able to feel safe.
That's a really
I
good
Uh,
agree.
point.
right. So, but there's also this idea of empathy that you feel seen, valued, and heard. And then I think you brought something up, Lisa, that wounds are respected and never exploited. So when you have that fight, they don't bring it up later and
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
stab you with it again.
Even though
You
I
it
know,
looks
hate that.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it just
yeah,
I hate that, hate that.
yeah, because that's not fighting fair.
No,
You
No, it's
don't
not.
bring up stuff from 3 months ago
that you
and
have
rehash it
put to
again.
rest. Yeah, put to rest,
Yeah,
in bed, in the grave, it's gone, you know?
yeah. So that's really
Not for
important.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really important to feel like your wounds are not going to be like reopened every time that you have a fight.
Yes,
And
yes,
you're exploited in that way. Um, that's part of having empathy, I think.
I agree with
So,
that.
I agree.
Yeah,
um, you really want cooperation from your person, like this idea of like willing to compromise on things. If you're the one that's always making the compromises, or you're the one that's always sacrificing, or you're the one that's always like having to get along or having to make concessions. Like, you want it to be a two-way street. Um, and you want to feel like you can share your ideas and that
Right.
it's not going to be shot down.
Right.
Mhm.
That's part of being yourself, like we talked about, but it's also like this idea of cooperation and partnership, that you're in a partnership with someone, you're not in a dictatorship.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
not a
I agree with
servant,
that.
or you're not a fan.
You're a lover and a companion. That's what you're
Yeah,
supposed to
Yeah.
be.
I know a lot of people in relationships where they're a fan, like they're a groupie to this
Yeah.
person.
That's gross.
Um, well, it's
Oh
just
yeah.
odd to me, like, you do, like, everything they say, you're, like, basically a slave or something.
Yeah.
No, no,
It
no,
has
no,
to
no.
be, like, a partnership, it has to be you're on an equal ground, not necessarily, like, monetarily or, like, status or whatever, but just, like, the idea that you're sharing and
Yeah, your
you
energy is
respect each
mutual.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect. Yes, respect,
You have to
especially.
feel equal. Yeah.
Yeah.
You may
Yeah.
not ever make the same amount of money, or you may not ever, um, be in the same social circle or whatever, or have the same number of followers on Instagram. That's not important. It's just this idea that you both respect each other for what you bring to the relationship, and that's really
Yeah.
all that matters. It doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks of it either.
Yeah.
RESPECT.
Yeah, for sure.
Find out what it means to me.
Oh yeah.
Well, and then, that idea of respect is meaning, this is one that's important to me, is that you can agree to disagree. Even if your politics are different, you feel like you can share your thoughts freely and they respect your opinion, even if it's different.
Yeah.
You can
Definitely.
have different ideas about things, but it's okay, because you're not going to agree on everything. I guarantee it.
I know.
Yeah,
You will
does that
not.
tick you off when people do that? Like, if you're in a relationship and they're like, well, I support this, and if you don't support this, then you just shut up.
Oh,
I
I
can't
hate that.
stand that. I'm like, you know what? I'm entitled to my own opinion.
My Aries
Yeah.
Misty over there
Stand
saying Aries Misty is like, hell no, I tell you what.
it doesn't have to be an argument either. It just,
No.
I'll have my opinion, respect it.
Yes.
That's
I
it.
don't know.
Ugh.
I don't know if this is a phenomenon nationwide, but I've definitely noticed in Southern California that people write if they're a Trump supporter on their dating profile or not.
Really?
And they say,
They probably do here. They probably do here.
and and it's
You
like,
know it, Misty.
and it's like a yes, like, if you support Trump, don't even bother to date me. And then the other way, I only date people who support Trump. So it's not
Wow.
like it's all one way or all the other way. It's just like it's a very defined line in the sand. Like, I'm only going to be with people who share my political beliefs,
Yeah.
which I think is very unwise.
Because that's
Personally.
not love. I mean, it doesn't feel like that's what love is about.
No,
you
it
know?
really shouldn't be. I
Yeah.
think because, like, I think there's a lot of to me, it really doesn't matter if you support Trump or not. That's not the point of my story. It's like there's a lot of values underneath that umbrella that you could be sharing or not sharing.
True.
So
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter if you support a political candidate or not. There's so many things underneath that political candidate that you could support or not support, that you have to really define those things one by one. You can't just say Trump supporter and that means the same thing for everyone.
You're right.
Because it really doesn't.
Doesn't.
So you have to really, like, define those things. Well, what does that mean to you? I support Trump, or I don't support Trump. And what does that mean?
Yeah.
Because it means something different to everyone. I totally guarantee you that.
Okay.
You're right.
So I'm not, but I don't really want to make, like, political statements on your podcast, and I'm not trying to. It's just that, you have to be able
Example,
to
yeah.
agree to disagree on things, and, like, and if politics are super important to you, then maybe that is something you can't, like, live with or not live with, and that's fine. We totally talked about the must-haves and can't stands, and like
Yes,
the
yeah.
list, and like if politics is up there for you and you just can't deal with someone who doesn't have your same politics, then yeah, that's important to you. Okay.
But then
But
there's stuff like tomatoes, and maybe they don't like tomatoes and you do, and you cook with tomatoes, and you just have to compromise not to cook with tomatoes.
yeah,
Or for yourself, you put your tomatoes in yours and not in theirs.
sure. Yeah, to me that'd be something like I could totally work around, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
I totally could. Yeah.
But I mean, onions isn't no, we can't do that. But
Onions?
yeah, tomatoes I
Oh,
do.
you crazy, Misty. Onions are where it's at.
That's what I'm saying.
If you
don't like
both eat onions.
That's
I
so
cook
funny.
everything
One
with
person
onions.
eating
I will.
onions and the other person not. That could be problemsome later with kisses and whatnot.
There's
But
always
that's
breath
to have good
mints.
hygiene.
Breath
Brush
mints,
your
yeah.
teeth.
Brush your
Yeah.
teeth.
What's this brush your teeth you speak of?
The last thing is boundaries. It's so important to remain an individual inside the relationship.
Yes.
So not only do you have to have boundaries, like your own personal boundaries, you have to be able to still maintain, like, I have my own hobbies, I have my own time inside the relationship. And then also that, your partner appreciates your time. So, like, you know, if you have a date scheduled or whatever, they're not like canceling on you at the last minute. Your time is valuable, and it doesn't matter how long you've been
Mhm,
dating. Um, like even in my own example, canceling the date,
mhm,
he let me know plenty of time ahead, even though we've been dating for months. Because he respects my time. He's going to let me
Yeah.
know that, our date this weekend is not going to happen because he was sick. So that's maintaining boundaries. He's respecting my own personal boundaries, that I have, personal time that
That's
I need
great.
to like have. And yeah, so like you always have to have your own life
Yes.
outside of the relationship. And I don't know how many times I tell my clients this, that you really need to have a you
Yeah, enjoy
outside of the
yourself.
partnership. Yeah.
If you,
mhm.
like you said in one of the podcasts, I think, if you're loving yourself and happy with yourself, you're gonna attract people that
Yeah,
love you
for
for who
sure.
you are, because you're being
Yeah.
yourself and you're living your life and enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't lose yourself in a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, don't lose yourself.
The biggest problems I think come in the beginning of the relationship when um the masculine feminine dynamic, I think, is off. And I don't know if you guys feel this or not feel this. And this is, and I think we were mentioning this earlier, maybe on the last podcast too, is that I'm mostly talking about heterosexual relationships, men and women, and people who are going from dating to commitment. Now, there are many other type of relationships. I'm very aware. There are people who, men who love men. There are women who love women, and then there are people who do not want commitment. There are people who are polyamorous. There's people who want to be casual, and I totally understand and respect all of those different types of relationships. And I really do believe love is love, and I don't think that anyone is judging you, and I'm certainly not judging you. It's just that most of the people who come to me for love advice are people who want to be in monogamous, committed relationships.
Me too.
So this advice is mostly for people who want to be in a one-on-one committed relationship. It doesn't have to be marriage, but like you want to be with one person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I
that's
that
kind of like,
we had talked about that before, the podcast listeners, because as we're both advisors on Everclear, and we also do our own work locally, and it is true for me too. Like it's mostly people who want a commitment, almost always
right.
women, not also some men, but it's usually women who really need to know that he loves her.
Yeah.
They love that he loves them, or that they and they think the commitment will be the way to find out. That if
Yeah.
he makes this commitment, then he will love me.
Well,
Yeah,
you
I have
need to
male
know
clients too.
too whether they're seeing other people or not. I mean, I think that really needs to be kind of established within the first, month, I would think.
Yeah, I
Don't
think
y'all
so.
agree? You
Yeah, or
know,
if you're not looking for a commitment, maybe address it right away, you know,
right.
if you think they
Exactly.
are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's never too early to talk about what you're looking for. I think I would usually do it even before we went out on a date.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking,
Yeah.
even like
Yeah.
if you're talking over message, if you're talking over text, if you're talking on the phone, I would clearly define what your
Okay.
dating goal is. Do you want to be in a monogamous long-term relationship? Like
Mhm.
you're not saying that to that person you're the one. You're just saying I
I
No.
prefer.
envision myself in a long-term committed relationship. So
Yeah.
because you don't want any misunderstandings.
Right.
No.
So and
No.
why would you waste that person's time or
Yeah.
yours?
Yeah.
I
So there's
agree.
nothing wrong with
That's so much
defining it
right.
from
Yeah.
the outset,
Right.
in my opinion. You're not
Yep.
scaring anybody off, because if the other person wants that too,
Then
what's
it's
the
like,
problem?
yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it
Yeah.
out there. Yeah. Now they're
And
not
if
nervous
they
anymore.
don't, then you've just eliminated someone and you're not wasting your time.
Right.
So
Exactly.
any person who's going to run away screaming when you say, I want a relationship, you really don't want that person anyway.
No, you don't.
So
No,
don't be worried about stating what you want.
I agree.
And that goes back to having, confidence in yourself and them not judging you
Yeah,
and, and accepting you for who you are and what you want,
right. I mean,
respect.
you don't have to be rude about it, or just like,
No.
it's just like, hey, I'm looking for, I want a relationship. That's why I'm out here dating people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing weird about it. Like everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um I think I know I talked about this in one of the other podcasts, but the masculine feminine dynamic goes way back to our caveman kind of days and how our brains are formed. And when men were the hunters and women were the gatherers, and our female brain is designed for communication and connection, because um, women were left at the campfire while the men went to hunt. And so the women were left with, the other women and our babies. And, if you think about us around the campfire, the only way you would know if a predator was coming up behind you is for the woman across from you to go, hey, Jennifer, there is a panther coming up behind you, or whatever. There's a lion coming up
Right.
behind
Yeah.
you. Hey, run.
Right.
Okay. So it's really important for women to have these connections and communication, right? To protect us and our offspring. So that's why we have these areas in our brain developed for communication and connection. Men crave status. Their survival is dependent on it. So
Yeah, I
as
agree.
men were out hunting, their survival is dependent on killing that boar or whatever.
The biggest
Because
boar.
because if they brought home the food, right, everyone in the whole tribe could eat. So the worst thing that you could do to your partner is make him feel shame,
Oh,
because
yeah.
that lowers his status.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you think about that in terms of your relationship, that's what you want to avoid at all
Yes.
costs, is shaming your man. The worst thing that you could do to a woman is to make her feel alone or separated or
Belittle her
isolated.
or belittle
Yeah.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then she's away from her campfire, her group. If a woman feels alone and isolated, she's like devastated, because that her, instinct is to form communication and connection, right?
Yeah.
That is how she survives. So we're literally tapping into these very primal instincts in our brain. So when you feel cut off from your man, when he like stops communicating with you, when he doesn't answer your text, that is why you feel like you're going to die. It feels that panicky sometimes, because it is that area of your brain, that caveman instinct that feels like death.
Yeah.
So that's
Mhm.
why it feels so awful to some
That makes
people.
sense. Yeah.
You know, you think like your rational brain is going, "Oh my gosh, he didn't just text me back. No big deal." But the reptilian part of your brain is freaking out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why. So I don't want you to feel bad about it. You know, don't feel bad that you're freaking out. But you do have to have some rational thought and just go, when your man goes away and goes into his man cave, you need
He's
to
not
like,
cheating. He's not
right,
cheating every time.
no,
He's not cheating
no.
every time he's not with you. I promise.
He's just, you have to like go have fun by yourself. Go like
Yeah.
self-soothe or like go find a girlfriend. It's not always about you. Obviously,
Yeah.
sometimes men are just shut down and doing their own thing or whatever.
They need
But
time to
it,
think. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
They do.
yeah,
Everybody does, but it seems
Mhm.
dudes really like to have the time to sort it all out and then approach it again.
Right.
You know?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Men are always going to withdraw, and you have to learn how to be happy anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true.
So
Mhm.
it's just I just want you to feel okay that it's okay to freak out because it's just that feminine instinct,
Yeah,
really.
don't beat up on yourself if you
Don't
have
beat
that
up on
reaction.
yourself.
That's where you
Yeah.
go
Exactly.
and look at
Exactly.
yourself, and if after your reaction, like Jennifer did with her reaction to
Yeah.
her, and you just look at it and go, okay, my logical side and my animal side are fighting, fighting, fighting. But our logical side can always talk down that animal side, unless like our, cats are threatened,
Right.
then we
And
but we
these
can
these
always.
hard emotions
Yeah.
are always covering soft emotions. So
Oh,
the
true.
hard
That is
emotions are
so
things
good.
like anger and aggression, and then the soft emotions are like fear and sadness and
Yeah.
anxiety. So you always have these like
Yes.
surface emotions are covering these other emotions. So that's why you have to ask yourself when things go wrong, you just have to ask yourself like, how am I showing up? What am I actually feeling? Be in your body, like talk to yourself, right? Like
Yeah.
what you said, Lisa, you have to really like examine your own feelings and make sure that you are being vulnerable and showing up, and so you're not afraid of getting hurt, because if you close off, he's just going to close off too. You're just kind of
Yeah.
mirroring each other at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And in relationships, if it's a relationship where you're both really feeling the love and the connection, they will definitely feel what you're feeling.
Yeah.
If you're doubting it or doubting him or thinking he's cheating, he's gonna figure that out in some way. Other subconsciously, something you're doing is gonna
Yeah.
make him think you're weird. Like you're acting weird for some reason. What is it? Nothing.
Yeah. You can't
No,
help
tell
it.
him.
You can't cover it up.
Tell
Yeah.
him you're feeling insecure, and instead of, like you said, instead of a hard reaction or an emotion, you use a soft emotion. I'm afraid you'll leave me. Instead of
Yeah.
I'm pissed because you might leave me.
Yeah. I'm gonna hurt you if you leave me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna put you in my basement.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, the best thing you can think about, like if things start to go sideways or things start to go wrong, is you have to ask yourself, have you one-upped your man? Like, have you caused him to lose status in any way? Because the most important thing you have to think about is, do you respect your man? And you don't have to like love everything he does, but you do have to find something about him that you respect, because
Absolutely.
you're not going to respect a man that you feel superior to.
Yeah.
That's
So
kind
true.
of the bottom line. And you
Very
have to
true.
be able to respect your man so he has status in your eyes, because honestly, that's all women want: connection, and men want status.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they live
Totally
for it.
agree.
Yeah.
I guess
So
that
if you
goes back to like a lot of men want to provide.
Right.
Whenever I do readings, a lot of the readings come up that the man is afraid because he doesn't make enough money to spoil her or to
Yeah.
give her what he wants to give her, and he's insecure about it, or she makes more money, he's insecure about it.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah,
of
that's a
times
big
that's
one
what
these
the issue
days.
is, right down
It's
in the
so
bud.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it seems so silly almost
To
in
a
this
woman.
day and age. Yeah,
Yeah.
because women are like, well, I earn the same amount or I earn more and he shouldn't worry about that because, we get along just fine and our
We have
bills
more
are
money to
paid. And
spend together.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
you would think like
Right.
oh yeah, I'm contributing, he should be
Yeah.
happy about it, but you're making him lose status.
Yeah.
That and his role is, the hunter, and he wants to be able to bring it home. So, but there's other ways to give him status, there's other ways to like be in your feminine that have nothing to do with money. And so you need to spend time in your feminine every day as a woman. And you can do other things for your man, like asking for help and asking for a favor and asking for his opinion and asking for his time. And all of these things will give him status. It has nothing to do with how much he earns or provides or whatever. And
Right. He feels needed.
yeah,
Yeah.
making him feel needed gives him status,
Yeah.
especially when you're married and all of those things. But like even when you're dating, asking for a favor is super important. And that's super hard for me personally to ask for help.
Me too.
As a long time single mother, I didn't have anybody to help me. So I figured out how to do everything by myself.
Yeah.
Hyper independent, super independent. So asking a man for help is very foreign to me.
It is for me
Right.
too,
Very
because
hard.
in my past, this is my baggage, but in the past, when I asked for help, it was held against me later.
Yeah. And so when you have that as a
So it's hard to
baggage
ask
or a
for help.
trigger, that's very hard to ask for help. You have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You always have that in the back of your head, Lisa, when you're going to go
Yep.
ask for help. Like, well, is they going to use me against use me against this
Yeah.
later? Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be hard for you to
Like, I
ask
do so
for.
much for you. I do everything for you. I did this, I do that. And it's like, what about what I did for you? Nothing
Yeah.
right now. I've never done
Yeah.
anything for you right now because you're on me. It's just
Right.
Yeah.
people, they shouldn't do that. And yeah,
Relationships are
fighting
never
fair.
going to be fair.
that's a good point. All's fair in love and war.
Yeah. Nothing is ever going to be fair.
Yeah.
So you can't go into it thinking like, I do this for you and you do this for me.
Right.
No
It's not
one's
50
keeping
50.
score.
No one's keeping
So
score.
you
If
can't
they
keep
are, there's a
score.
problem.
Right. Right. The only thing that should be balanced is your budget. Everything else is,
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's really hard for a lot of women to ask for anything, especially if you've been single for a long time, especially
Mhm.
like Lisa, if you've been hurt in the past for asking for anything, or if you've been abused in any way, that's difficult to ask for help. If you've asked for help and then been, hurt for that, that's. But yeah, I asked my boyfriend to help me move a chair. I needed his help
You
to
did
move
Right.
well, it didn't fit in my car. And
Oh,
I
okay.
needed to take the lap dance chair to the new studio
Okay.
and it didn't fit in my car. And so I agonized about asking for like 2 weeks.
Oh my.
Yeah, because it was so hard for me to ask for help. And so when
Yeah.
I actually asked him, of course, he was like, "Yeah, what day do you want to do that?"
Oh,
And it was just
great. Yeah.
like
Nothing.
so easy, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you, Lisa, it was just like you. It was very, very hard for me to like ask
Yes.
because I'm just so hyper independent.
Yeah.
I just want to do everything myself. And I felt like almost that, okay, great. Now what do I owe you for that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't owe him anything.
But some people will make you feel like that.
Some people make you feel that way.
So if they do that, that is what on the checklist. If we go back to that podcast, that is a deal breaker.
Yeah. So I have to think about that. Like what in my past made me feel like that tit for tat feeling. I don't know. I can't remember. Like I don't know who made me feel that way.
Yeah.
But that's definitely baggage for me is that,
Yeah.
you know, I felt like, oh, now what do I owe you because you did
Yeah.
me a favor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
kinda that's
more
in me too.
baggage,
That's in
more
me too. Like,
baggage.
I owe you something if you help me, no matter who you are, what you're doing, or why. It's like,
Yeah.
have to pay you back somehow. Because
Yeah.
to me, it's like a responsibility, and I don't know if that's taught to me or if it's just part of where I developed, thinking that way. I don't know.
I think probably my dad, like, there's no such thing as free lunch kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
attitude.
And I'm used to also all my life, whenever I've asked for help, most of the time, most of the time, the people in my family, in my life, my relationships, they would all have a caveat to helping me. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
if it's with money, they have to tell me how to spend it. If it's with whatever, they have to tell me what to do with it, not just here's some help. You
Yeah.
know,
So help always has strings attached.
strings always has strings, so I don't like asking for help. No,
Yeah, I can
always
see
strings.
why
There's
that would
never no strings, ever, 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 ever,
yeah.
ever. So it's just like hard for me to ask. So yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely.
Yeah.
So if we're going into like a new relationship, let's say we're some of us listeners, me, maybe Misty, not Misty,
Not
but we're going
Misty.
into new relationships, and Misty's cheating on her husband. He's listening. He's finding out right now. I'm just kidding. Misty,
Let me
adore
tell
her.
you
Ah, good.
I mean, my
um,
relationship's pretty new. I'd have to say
it
it's
is new.
new.
So like,
New-ish.
what as you've been moving into it, have you had issues with some of that baggage coming up, and how did you
Yeah.
handle it?
Well,
How,
yeah, I mean, I definitely that example I just gave. And I think it's always recognizing and communicating your baggage
Yeah, and
and
explaining
being
where it came
honest.
from.
Yeah, explain where it came from, being honest about it, which is difficult. Like it was every instinct in me to hide it.
Yes, yeah.
Um, because wow, I don't want him to know what a hot mess I am,
And I don't
right?
want him to think I'm making him that guy who did that, or that person
Right.
who did that. Yeah, 'cause
Exactly.
he's not the same
That
person.
was my concern too. Like I don't want him to think like he's two boyfriends ago because I know
Yeah,
he's not that guy.
right.
But I also wanted him to understand about the man who abandoned me and made me feel that way.
Yes,
So I
yes.
did. I told my boyfriend about the man that really abandoned me and scarred me really badly. Um because I felt like it would help him understand why I reacted that way.
Yeah.
So,
Did he?
yeah, it did give
Oh,
context to the situation.
yeah,
So, I think it helped for me to reveal that, but that was incredibly vulnerable
yeah.
for me to
you
be
What's
had to
he
like,
say
gonna
it.
say? What's he gonna say? Are you gonna
yeah,
sense him pulling away and
Yeah.
being, ew?
right.
You
Is he
worry
gonna
about
think,
that.
yeah, is he gonna think, oh my gosh, she's a hot mess. I don't
Yeah.
want to have anything to do with this. Or like, has she not healed from
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was another concern that I had. But because like I'm someone who works on myself a lot. So I feel like he had the confidence that again, I had the self-awareness and I took accountability that it was important to be vulnerable and talk about it.
It is.
Um and I think that shows a lot of maturity when
It does.
you can one be vulnerable, two accountable, and three show that you're healing because I think
Yeah.
that does show that you're healing.
And a lot of times
um
those new relationships do heal the old wounds if you talk about them and tell the person and they understand, they fix them. They can heal you
well,
too.
Yeah.
honestly, Lisa, when we talked about soulmates, I think that's the purpose of relationships and soulmates is to foster that healing from these past wounds that we've had. So I really
Yeah.
do feel like my current boyfriend is in my life to help me heal from those past wounds.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
he's so not like that, it is helping me heal. And I mean, on a so this is like more on a like a metaphysical, spiritual level.
Hey, it's a psychic
People,
podcast.
yeah, people come into your life to help you heal.
Yes,
I think soulmate relationships are very healing. And so you attract people into your life to teach you lessons.
I
These are the
agree.
lessons I was meant to learn. I was meant to be abandoned by the dude 3 boyfriends ago so that I could learn a lesson about myself. Learning from that childhood abandonment, it was repeated again as an
Yeah.
adult, so I could learn that about myself. And now it's being healed, 3 years later.
Yeah.
But I think that's, an important thing that I've learned and grown from.
Oh, definitely.
But, it's if I tell my clients this too when I see like patterns in their relationship, I'm telling them, if you don't heal this, you're going to meet the next man who's going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, we do attract what we haven't fixed yet.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
we need to fix, we'll attract that
Agree
to
with
us.
that.
If we're all
Right.
happy and good, we'll attract happy and good, maybe, most likely, It's
Yeah.
hard to be
Right.
all happy and good when you've been brutalized by love sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you know yourself, if we explore ourselves and get to know ourselves and understand what hurt about
Right.
that, understand it, transmute it if you can. But if we can just understand what about us, why did that hurt? That can take the healing miles ahead. And then if someone wants to come along and help you with it, if I don't have to ask, it'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right. The soulmate relationship is about healing, even with friendships and stuff like that, I think.
Sure. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's all about doing the shadow work,
Yes.
which a lot of people shy away from.
Well,
They want to
one
go from
reason-
this relationship to the next one
Yeah.
without doing the work in
Hey.
between.
Oh, that's
And-
big.
But they want that
Yeah.
person to fix them. They want the next person to fix them sometimes.
Yeah.
Fix their
Yeah.
problems. Sometimes.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what you're talking about in the beginning of the relationship. If you're bringing all of your baggage to someone and going, well, you're supposed to fix this, that is not the other person's problem.
No.
If
No.
I went to my boyfriend and I said, oh, I have abandonment wounds, so you can't really do that to me, that is not his problem to be like, oh,
No.
he can't ever cancel a date with me because I have abandonment issues.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
up to me to not have an over the top reaction when he cancels a date with me.
And then you
So
heal. Yeah.
exactly. So the
So,
responsibility is on me to heal the abandonment wound.
Yeah.
It's not on my boyfriend to never
No.
cancel a date with me.
So
So that's the big difference between, how to deal with your baggage. And obviously I'm not the only one with baggage. My boyfriend has baggage too, which I am not going to air his dirty laundry on this podcast. But he has to deal with his stuff too when it comes up. And so it's a two-way street. And I'm
Of
not
course it
saying it's not. It's just that, you have to take responsibility for your own stuff.
Yes.
And I think we do. It's just that,
Without beating yourself up. Take responsibility for you and your actions and your thoughts and feelings, but don't beat yourself up, right?
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
who you are. Don't
Yeah.
hate yourself for anything. Just
No.
do something different if you don't like it. If you don't like your reaction to something, don't hate yourself for it because that's not going to change it.
Right.
It's not going to fix
Yeah,
it. But if we
yeah.
like look at it and go, I don't like this about me. I'm not going to hate it. I'm just going to try to work on changing it into something I like. It's like a quality of mine that I'm not too happy about is that I'm not very good at consistently working. Like,
Mhm.
if I don't want to work, I won't because I work from home and I have my own schedule.
Yeah, yeah.
And I need more discipline, right? So
Well, as an energy worker, it is hard when you don't have the energy
it's
to be
impossible.
healing people.
It's impossible. Yes, and it's hard to explain that to people.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
got it today. I can't.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's different. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I also have other things I do. I make jewelry and I write and I do
Right.
other things, but I love the readings. That's my favorite, and that's what I want to be doing and just can't always do it.
Because you're good at it.
Well, I just love it. I just love it. It's
I'm
fun.
at it too.
It's It's a lot of fun. I mean, it can be
Yeah.
hard. It can be hard, especially when you're talking about love. And most of my readings are about love.
Mhm.
And people have real damage from past relationships. And it usually, like you said, Jennifer, with your childhood, it stems back to something that happened when they were younger.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be childhood and family, and sometimes it can be first loves in high school and stuff like that.
Right?
In middle school, it's just
Yeah.
something. It's just something that broke your little heart when you're 15.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
that heart wasn't so little when you find out when you're older. You know.
You know, I tend to ask people to look at their last 3 relationships. Look at your last 3 serious relationships and tell me the pattern, and I'll tell you what to fix.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
see. I'm doing this. I have to dig because, like, my third one would be when I was 22. I'm not. I
Yeah,
don't know.
because
I'll
there's
think about
usually
that.
like a repeating theme about
Yeah.
what happened in the last 3 relationships. I mean, serious relationship, not someone you dated for like 2 weeks
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it's just like there's a theme going on. It could
I
be,
think the theme for me is disrespect toward me.
okay, then you
Yeah.
got to work on your
Yeah.
self-worth.
Yes. Oh, duh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't ask
Yeah.
for help, and I can't. I keep getting told what's wrong with me, so I need to not listen to them.
Yeah.
Listen to
Yeah.
myself.
But you know what,
Yeah.
ladies, I can say this though. I've been through, this before. I've been divorced, I've had to
Mhm.
date, and then I got remarried later on. But I can say that I did go through that. And I did realize at one point in my life that I was repeating myself and I was
Mhm.
looking for the same man. And I was like, this is not good for me.
Mhm.
And so when I started to heal myself and start like making that list, like you were talking about, I kind of did that in my head. I had my
Yeah.
priorities. But once I did that and then stopped looking for it, that's when it came,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and I knew that it was totally different from the other ones. And that's why, because I did the work. I worked on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
I
that's
can
what
claim
people
that.
need to do. Yeah. That when they're searching externally too much, I tell them to stop and just
Yes.
refocus on yourself.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah.
Um,
They can
because
drive
that,
you crazy.
Find your
yeah,
stuff that you love instead of thinking about someone who's torturing you,
yeah,
in your
yeah,
thoughts. You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're fixated on an
Fixated.
ex.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
That's a big
advice
no-no.
I can give if you're fixated on an ex is to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Do what
Yeah.
you
Definitely.
love, what lights you up, what are you
Yes.
passionate about? That is what you should be worried about.
Yes. I agree.
Even if it doesn't have to be your job, even if it's just like a hobby, if you love like anime, do that
Watch it.
as much as
Yeah.
possible. Or
Yeah.
if you love Harry Potter, like binge watch the movies, like
Yeah.
whatever like makes you happy and lights you up. If it's like looking at cat videos, do it. I don't care what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just whatever like you're passionate about, even if it's like donating money for a certain cause, like if you care a ton about um border immigration and you want to help detain children, focus your energy and awareness on that. Like I don't care what your cause is, just
Helping other
do it.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Help
like
other
that.
people.
Yeah, I
you know?
like that just in general. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, because anything that takes the focus off of your love life is going to light you up from the inside.
And then they'll be
Definitely.
attracted to you.
Yeah, it's going to make
Everybody
you a more
will.
interesting person and it just kind of
And you'll be happy.
relights you up from
It
there.
does relight you up, and for
Exactly.
everybody else, but for yourself. I mean, you would just. I mean, from when I've done it, I just feel like, what was I thinking before? I was miserable, wanting someone to make me happy, and it's like I'm the
Yeah.
only one who can do that. I'm the only person who is capable of making me happy. And
Right.
when I got to that realization, probably around 33 or so, I was like, oh, it's so obvious. Why didn't I realize that?
Yeah,
It takes time.
Yeah.
I got divorced at 38 and I was so focused on being a wife and a mother that I had
Yes,
no
lost yourself,
interests
didn't you?
of my own. I
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
even know who I was or what I enjoyed doing.
Exactly.
So I had to like take time to even figure out, what do I like to do? Like,
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
any
Right.
hobbies. I don't have a life outside
Yes.
of being a mother
Yeah.
and going to work.
That's not
I went
healthy
to work,
either.
I took care of my kid, and I had my family. That was about it.
Yeah.
So I had to actually like get some hobbies because I
Yeah.
didn't have a life and I
Yeah.
didn't know what I liked. I didn't have any
Then
interests.
and then but I have a feeling they've always been there, but you kind of connected with some angels, and it seems like it helped you
Yeah.
out some.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really did. Yeah. So I really encourage people to, if you feel like kind of lost in your love life, just stop focusing on your love life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take
Exactly.
take it out of your brain and put it somewhere, and just like
Yeah.
in a
Just,
jar
yeah,
or
maybe
in
give it
a
a rest for
box.
a while and just focus on yourself and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
loving yourself and rediscovering your own interests and what's fun and
Finding
what,
yourself again. Yeah.
yeah, what
And
lights you up.
with that, I think, Jennifer, that's the best message you can give the listeners. And listeners, thank you for listening. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app where you can get your advice from empaths and psychics, so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And Jennifer and I are both advisors there. And where else can people find you, Jennifer?
My website is jenniferlove.me. Same Instagram, jenniferlove.me. And now
I'll
I'm
put
on
all the info.
TikTok, jenniferlove.me.
TikTok. Yeah, I got to check that. I still haven't gotten on TikTok. I haven't done it yet. But they put it on my phone. My phone automatically put TikTok on there without me saying so.
Yeah.
Really?
And I
That's
deleted
interesting.
it just because that's
Yeah.
absurd. You don't do that, phone.
That's funny.
I know.
But Jennifer, as always, thank you so much for doing this series. You're educating me probably more than the listeners. Maybe. I don't know. I need the help. And
I
Misty,
think
thank you as
everybody
always.
does.
Thank you, Misty.
Thank you.
And thank you,
Thank
listeners, again.
you.
And everybody have a wonderful evening, morning, wherever you are, night, day, and go love yourself some more. Go love yourself in any way you find. Ooh,
Yeah.
let's love ourselves from a distance.
Yes, let's do.
All right, peace out, listeners. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.